Welcome back to the Troubleshooting Like podcast. I'm your host, Craig Poston, with my co-host, Jay Peters, where we talk about various topics, sharing our experiences on life and finance.
What's going on, man?
What's up, man?
How's the mood?
Oh, yeah, how's it going?
It's good. You know, a happy Mother's Day to those that are out there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Happy Mother's Day. Yeah,
you up in Austin for Mother's Day?
Yeah, no, it's kind of a sporadic thing. I just felt like I should get out of San Antonio for a little bit and do something fun for the kids and the wife. They can do some shopping. We can go eat at my wife's favorite restaurant, all those good things. So I just thought it was something cool to do. Use my points, which, you know, by just using that same card for expenses, built up the points, and I was just like, all right, boom, let's go here. Let's just do it, you know.
So I like the points thing, especially like with like Amex or even sitting like hotels or airlines and stuff. Like Marriott is probably my go-to hotel chain, and then for me personally, like flights, Southwest is probably my thing.
Yeah, no, that's this one here is Marriott, so seem to like it so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bonvoy Marriott, that's the card I have. With the points, they have a lot of nice things that you can go do. They also have American Express, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
so
I like that one, but I think the annual fee is pretty up there.
For the Amex, this is I think Chase with the Bonvoy Visa that I have.
Yeah.
And that one, I think it's like $99, so it's not bad at all.
No, pretty
good. So if I did the American Express, I definitely would I take full advantage of all the membership type benefits that they have associated with that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely do, because I have the Amex. I have a handful. Oh man, we can definitely go into credit cards real quick, but because like recently I've gotten like 3 or 4 credit cards. So like I got the X1 credit card, which is one of the flat 2% cashback ones, kind of like the City Double Cash, but it also has like a few boosts where you can get it like up to like 10 times the amount, depending on like the vendor and stuff. And then you already know me, I got the HEB one. For those that don't know what HEB is, I feel sorry for you. But if you're here in like mid and South Texas, because I know it's not all of Texas, but mid South Texas, HEB is our grocery chain. And I saw it one day, just happenstance, walking into the grocery store, and I was like, man, I might as well get it. So the same week I got the X1, I got the HEB one, and then like a couple of days later, or maybe that same day, I applied for a business credit card through American Express and got the Amex Business Blue Cash. And that one's actually pretty good, especially for no annual fee. And it's another one of those flat 2% cashback cards, but on the business side.
Yeah. No, I remember you sending me that link. That was actually, I thought it was pretty interesting, especially a grocery store having a credit card like that. But I guess they realize that people are starting to use that more to pay for their expenses so they can get the benefits off of it. So if they can kind of make it where you buy more of their products using the credit card, that makes them more money. So
I guess it's almost like recycling or washing money, just because it's like, it goes to you or goes through you and you're paying it back and stuff like that.
Yeah. So no, I mean, it's a good idea. I just wasn't looking for that credit card right now. And plus I had already grabbed a different one that I was wanting to use. It's more not necessarily balance transfer, but it was more so you can pull cash when needed. Because basically they'll just drop the money straight into your savings account, and either they'll do a variable rate or they'll do a zero interest with a fee. So it just depends on how you want to do it and how quickly you're going to pay it off. Because usually you just need the money temporarily. Like, so if you, just like I think I mentioned once before, I pulled some money and then I dropped it into a savings account. The savings account actually had a higher interest rate than the actual interest rate there was to pay back the credit card. So I was like, well, I mean, for right now, I can just let it sit there and then just make the payments, and there's still a bit of an offset. Or you can either pay it all the way off and just keep the money in the savings account for a year. Either way it go, you're still going to get your money back out of the deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just ways to play around with it.
No, I know there's a lot of certificates of deposit and money market accounts that are going up there in rates, especially with the Fed rates going up.
Yeah, yeah. So that, yeah, again, yeah, it's a good way to play around, cause especially with a CD, you can set it for 12 months, right? So
I think the minimum, you can even do like a month now. Like some of them are going month by month or 3 months.
Oh wow, yeah. See, that one I didn't know, because I thought the whole object of the CD was try to get you to hold to get them to hold on to your money for a little bit while they lend it out to other people.
I think the reason why is because they don't know how long the rates will stay that high. So they'll offer like a short term certificate of deposit.
Yeah.
It's like it's like a 5 or 5 plus APR or APY, I should say, which is like pretty good. And so like I think they'll offer like a 3 month up to a year, but I don't think they can guarantee that up to the year it'll be the 5% APY.
Yeah, and I mean, and with a CD, it just renews if you don't tell them no. It's like, hey, let me take my money, and then it'll just renew until the next month. So in a sense, yes, I guess it is a easy way to do it, where you can just pull your money out when you're ready.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good thing. I wish I would have. I knew about them when I was younger. I just didn't capitalize on them necessarily, and I probably should have.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. I knew about them. I even put some money in a CD, but it was only a way to keep me from taking the money.
Yeah,
and it was a way to. Yeah, so basically, that same thing. Yeah, out of sight, out of mind, and you save more. And that was literally what it was for, just to keep me from, especially if I say you did your taxes and you actually got a little bit of money back instead of blowing the money. I was like, oh, let me stick it in the CD so I can have it for later on. So it'll be things like that.
Yeah, I've never had a certificate of deposit like I sold, but I don't know. Maybe I'm one of those people that I kind of overthink things to where like, well, if I put it in a CD, then could I put it in real estate later? Can I, or could I put it into like an IRA or something, grow it that way, and if I really need the money, then I'll just take a loan out on the IRA. And there's just like so many things that go through my mind. I'm like, that kind of just like stops me from doing almost anything.
Yeah. But that's one of the things that I'm trying to have a way to have access to different money in different places. And just like when opportunities pop up, your real estate agent say, hey, check this out. And it looked like a really good deal. And all it is, you just need to come up with the cash, the down payment, and the closing costs. And because you already know you're going to get your money back, but it's just one of those things. Like, how can I get cash quickly without pulling in other investors or pulling in what is the other hard money lending, things like that. Yeah, so like it's just other options, and that's kind of like how I look at it.
Yeah, different ways to leverage your money.
Yeah.
The other thing I did, I don't think it wasn't this past week, but it was the week before, and I know we didn't get a chance to chop it up previous weekend because I had my reserve drill, but I met with an estate attorney to do some estate planning and stuff and set up a trust. So I'm doing the paperwork for that right now. And what the plan is, and when I was going through the consultation with her, is that we're going to set up a trust. I have like a couple LLCs set up here in Texas. And we're going to split the properties between the LLCs, and then the LLCs themselves will be in the trust. And for those that don't really know what a trust is, it's very similar to a will, where if you pass, there's a certain way to split your assets to, let's say, family member or to your estate, and it just helps makes things a lot easier uh, as in like when you pass and you say you have a bunch of assets or a number of assets, and you don't want your family to worry about where it's going to go or who's going to get it or who's going to fight over it, whatever it is, then it's easier way to assign who are the beneficiaries, trustees, and benefactors of your estate or of your assets.
Yeah. No, that's yeah. Yeah, it's just so many ways to like help protect your money, help protect the people around you, all those different things. I mean, the only thing I always worry about, and I guess that's why you should involve a lawyer, involve, a CPA and these different things, is like the maintaining of the different LLCs when you split them amongst different properties.
Yeah.
Yeah, just making sure that everything legally is done with them, that no one can come back and try to take whatever it is. So, because the whole point is just protecting you and your family. So if someone wanted to, try to sue you for something crazy, right?
Yeah.
They don't have access to all of that. They only have access to a certain amount.
Yeah.
And that way, like I said, it's not to do anything for you to do anything illegal. It's just so that people won't try to just frivolously, sue you for anything.
Yeah.
No.
No, I definitely agree with that. And another thing I like about it and trust is that you can say if you have young kids and say they're young when you pass and you have X amount of assets and you want to trust them when they're a certain age, then you can do that.
Yeah.
Say that when they're 21 or even like certain events, like if they go to college or if they want to start a business, then certain funds from whatever part of the trust can go to that. Right. I think it's a good way to set that up. And another thing I was looking into was what's called they call it the infinite banking concept or the family banking system. And it's something I've been interested in for maybe a couple of years now. And I finally kind of understand how it works. And the way it works is that you would get a whole life whole life insurance policy for X amount of money. And what you can do with a whole life versus a term policy is that you can borrow against a whole life policy. So that, say, like I said, if someone needed a loan for college or if they wanted a loan for a business, then you could take money against the life insurance policy. That whoever took the money out would pay back the life insurance policy. So in turn, it's still going towards the family and towards your own banking system instead of going to Chase or going to Amex or going to like any other banking system and asking for a loan. They would go to you or to the family bank to take the loan.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, so many different ways to get access to money. It's just having the knowledge just to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I've kind of heard the whole life policy thing before. But again, one of those things I have to research, look into, and see how you can actually, how you can access the money how you need to. Because with whole life, I think it's like you pay it off in a sense, right?
That's what it is.
Yeah. And that way you just have it there, but then you can actually use it later. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, so where like term life policy doesn't necessarily have a cash value until you pass, but that's why term life insurance is also cheaper than whole life insurance.
Yeah, and that was the thing. I know I've had a whole life policy before, but I think what I didn't like about it was it's like I was putting money in, but I didn't see any. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see it.
Correct. Yeah, you typically don't see it mature for like the first 2 to 5 years.
Yeah, so that was one of the things I was like, huh. But I was like, couldn't I save up the same amount of money and have it stashed somewhere and it grows interest at the same? So it was like one of those things too. Like, and I would have to look deeper into whole life insurance, to see what is the true benefit besides, protecting your family when it's time when you pass, so they don't have to worry about it, or having access to it to be able to borrow against it. Like what are other benefits? What why pay for it?
Yeah.
So,
and then I will say, like, if you're looking just to make sure that people are taken care of when you pass, I think term life insurance is a little bit better because it's a little bit less out of your pocket, or like actually it's almost substantial. Like I looked at I think the same tail policy I have for term versus whole life, I think would be almost double, or maybe more than double what I pay for term.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's different, gives and takes, and it really depends on like how you want to use that type of policy for the life.
Yeah. 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 But that was one of the things that always bothered me. It's like, okay, say if you did a whole life for 50K, right? You're like, okay, what do I need to do if I personally wanted to save that money and stash it somewhere? And, what is the protection behind having the money in a whole life insurance policy? So, and maybe that's one of those things we need to, invite some people onto the podcast that can talk, to something like that.
Yeah.
And explain exactly what those, what are those benefits to a whole life insurance policy?
Yeah, I actually have a couple of friends that are in like the life insurance gang, and
Okay.
a few of them work for different companies. And one of them, they definitely focus a lot more on whole life. The other one focuses on term life. And
Yeah.
so I kind of know like those very small amounts of information, because like if I had them in the room together, they probably like put their dukes up, trying to
Yeah.
which one's better.
Yeah. 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 But yeah, and like I said, with the term, I definitely have some of those, for sure, which are, again, like you said, a lot cheaper. It looks like in a sense, right? If something happened to you, it looks like it'll go a lot longer. Like you can have it where it pays off your property, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go buy a new investment property. I want to protect my family. I'm gonna make sure that this property gets paid off just in case something happens to me.
Yeah.
Like they still have the property and they can do whatever they want with it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I looked at it with the term life.
Yeah. No, I definitely believe in the term life policies, and that's why I have at least one on top of the SGLI for the military.
Yeah. Because that's I remember when we were deploying, that was one of the things that they was bringing up to us. You can have multiple insurance policies. Along. You could set your power of attorney. Where you can have people that are, as I say, back in the rear, because that's the way, how you say when you deploy, you're deployed forward, and you leave people in the rear, and you leave your family in the rear, and basically, give them some type of power to be able to handle finances without you. Depends, how you want to do that. That's definitely all personal.
Yeah.
If you're the family member that you're giving power to, you give them too much power, they can go do something crazy, like go buy cars in your name and go buy houses because you gave them the power. So then you basically, you have to understand who are you giving the power for? How much power do they need?
Yeah. But a big thing is like let's say when you're setting up a trust, you also have to do, powers of attorney for like medical powers of attorney, or you have to grant an executor, trustees, beneficiaries. You have to like lay all those things out, and that's what I like about the trust, is that it's very detailed, and can be very specific to whatever situation you can think of. So, say if you have a daughter that ends up getting married, and she inherits part of her trust, and say that trust is like $1 million, and for at some point she gets married, right? And let's say just for an example, that she gets divorced, and the spouse wants to come after the money that she was given in the trust, they can't, because it's not her money, right? It's not something, even if they had like maybe in the prenup or in a nuptial agreement, it could state that, but more than likely they couldn't come after money that's not necessarily hers. It's something that was entrusted to her or inherited to her.
Yeah. I know we can get like, deep into this, and that's probably why we should have somebody on, and we can probably invite your friends, at least one at a time. We don't go. Yeah. So,
like cats in the back room.
Yeah. So we got to get to, the topic of this week. All right.
Yeah.
Nothing is owed to you.
Yeah.
Which is a very true statement. And again, another one of your titles. Did you want to start it out by explaining?
Yeah. So I'll kind of go off with what's kind of written here. So the statement, nothing is owed to you, means that you are not entitled to anything in life simply by existing. It implies that you must work hard and earn the things you want or need, and that you cannot expect anything to be handed to you. And I definitely support this concept and statement of nothing is owed to you, because it really is. Like, I think the sense of entitlement that a lot of people have can really corrupt their mindset, and really, I think it just ruins a lot of I don't know, but people's lives, thinking that they're owed something when they're not.
Yeah.
I think, if it's money, if it's some sort of treatment that they expect because of their background or whatever it is, I don't think it's very warranted for anyone.
Yeah. No, that's definitely true. Nothing is owed to you, and that's why I try to teach my kids that a lot. Like, if you want something, you got to work for it. As any kid, right? They're gonna complain about why they can't have this or why we can't do this, and like I even explained to my daughter, like, I don't care if we have the money. Doesn't necessarily mean we need to go get it. Like, if it's something that you really want, then work for it. We have chores around the house. You can get paid a certain amount of money for. We can put that in your account, and then as you build up, then we can work out whatever it is that you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I want to get to a point where I have abundance of wealth, and I have to make this decision of who I need to give money to, who I don't need to give money to, or just have the money sitting somewhere so it's for the next generation, regardless, right? But the whole point is, you want to get them to understand that, nothing is owed to you. I don't owe you any money. All I owe you is the things that I'm supposed to do as a parent, and that is just your health, your health, your education, make sure you have everything that you need. You're not just someone that's just wondering about. So those are the things that my main things that I have to take care of. Just teaching you life lessons, teaching you, showing you how to get access to more education, things like that. But that's, to me, that's the job of a parent, and that's why I try to let them know nothing is owed to you. And like I said, if I had Warren Buffett's money, I'm still not gonna just give them anything. Well, yeah, it's basically, hey, this is what you need, and this is what you're gonna have to work to get. So if you see me and I have this long list of things I've done in my life, it looks like you got your work cut out. You need to go ahead and get started.
Yeah. The thing is, like, especially from my perspective, of course, I haven't been a parent, but of course I have parents. I don't think the only thing that's owed to a child is that your parent is able to put a house over your head, feed you, make sure you have clothes, and then love. And I think that's about it. I don't think it should be anything more or less than that. As in, they don't owe you a fancy car. They don't have to give you anything after you're 18. They don't have to coddle you. They don't have to baby you. They just don't. They don't have to do all those additional things that maybe it's something that the media shows people, or that they see from other people. But other than those very basic necessities, yes, they're nice to have. Yes, oh my God, it would be nice to just get a fancy car from your parents, or like a mansion from your parents, or whatever it is. Right? Those are nice things to have, but they're not requirements, and it's not something that's owed to everyone or owed to anyone.
Yeah, no, that is a true statement. And then, did you hit your statements of to emphasize the importance of it?
No, not yet. But no.
Hey everyone, quick interruption. I just wanted to say, from both Craig and I, thank you for taking the time to listen to us and our random rambling about life. If you have enjoyed this and think even one other person will enjoy this, then please share out this link, whether you found us on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or any other platform. It costs no money and little time, but would have a great positive impact for our podcast and brand. All right, enough with the shameless plug. Let's get back to the podcast.
So one of the biggest things is personal responsibility. for me, that's kind of like the one of the core portions of nothing is owed to you. As in, when you feel someone owes you something, you are now absolving yourself of responsibility of getting what you want, right? As in, if you feel like someone owes you, like say if you feel like your employer owes you a certain amount of money because you're doing X amount of work, right? Now you're taking the responsibility off of you to go and make that money, right? Now you're dependent and highly dependent on someone else or someone external to help you reach your financial goals, right? I know I'm saying you can't be dependent on other people to help you get your financial goals. What I'm saying is that you also need to take a personal responsibility as in, well, maybe it's because of my education. Maybe it's because of my lack of experience. Maybe it's because of, my lack of leadership, X, Y, Z, right? And let's say if you are exemplifying all those things, then it should not be incredibly hard for you to get another position somewhere else where you are getting paid whatever you feel you are worth. But it's not up to that specific employer to just give you all the money because you do X, Y, and Z either well or not well.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's it's definitely should be on the person, right? And that's kind of like I said, I'll just go off of me. I don't. Yes. So again, I want more money. Yeah, but I don't go for just, hey, let me pressure my employer to give me more money because I think if first of all I need to do the research. How much money should I get paid? And then after that, what education level I need to be at or experience level I need to be at. And then what position at the job that needs to, what I'm saying, that actually gets that type of pay. So like that's the things that go through my head. So that's why I don't expect, hey, well, I need more money. And then sometimes you have to look at yourself, right? Is it my finances that are in trouble? Why am I asking for more money? Or is it, just because, okay, they really aren't paying me to standard of, my real worth that I have going on at my company, especially if you see other people around you that kind of I don't say loaf, but they more like cruise along and they can still get paid the same amount of money. Then you kind of think about it. Am I truly of value? Because if they can pay a person the same amount of money, but let them do less work, then I'm not, that's not my true value. Then it's something has to change in a sense, right?
Yeah. And I think a lot of people will get into that comparison game where hey, I'm doing all this work. These people aren't, and they're getting paid the same amount as me. Right. And, that is definitely true. I think for a lot of industries, especially, where we work at, in IT, you definitely find a lot of people that are just overall lazy in general, as in that's just their kind of work ethic, or they won't do more than they're expected to do, which is very common in DoD contracting, because a lot of people will say, well, that's not part of my contract. I don't want to do this. I want to do that, or I don't have to do those things. So they'll do, the very bare minimum and just kind of, skate by. And I think that's where sometimes your ego will kind of get inflated a little bit. I know mine has definitely got inflated to where I'm like, dude, why are these people not doing anything? And why am I doing everything? And why are they still getting paid? And I've said it before, I was like, if I'm doing your job, then I deserve your paycheck. I know that sounds very douchey, but if you've ever been in that situation, you understand exactly what I'm talking about, where you're doing the work of at least 10 people, and all those other people could just be fired and you could just get their paychecks and the company would still save a whole bunch of money. It seems unfair, but there's and while maybe those feelings are warranted, you still have to check yourself really quickly and kind of just take a self-assessment of you as if you're in that situation where you're doing maybe 10 people's work and you're still there, then that's on you, right? And that's not their problem, that's your problem, right? Or that's a problem you have. So it's kind of similar to where MJ or Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, right? They got paid totally differently, right? They got paid leaps and bounds differently from each other. where I think Mike was making more than the rest of the team combined for like a year or two. And I think Scotty, I don't know if Scotty found out or what had happened, but I know he had left after figuring out the difference in pay gap. But there are those situations where, you know, you could be number two and not getting paid as much as number one. But I mean, that comes to a decision to like, are you willing to stay and still get paid like number two, or do you want to go somewhere else, be number one, and get paid as number one? And are you willing to be number one for, you know, X amount of years?
Yeah. I mean, especially when it comes to something like that. He did bring championships, but he did do it without a team. It's just when he was there with the team, he just contributed more. And kind of like the same thing, right? If you're doing everyone's job, but that's the thing. He made it where he put the rest of the team to work, so no one just was able to just, you know what I'm saying, just be play their position and just go.
Yeah.
Right. Like, when it came to those championships, everyone was in the game, you know, knocking down threes, if it was getting rebounds, if it was making jump shots, it's getting down to the end of the court quickly, you know, everyone's playing their part. It's just, he just contributed more. So when it comes to him, I think he made his team better, you know, and which is another thing, a good quality of a leader.
Yeah. And I think it kind of leads into the next one where it says accountability, and where you have to be very self-accountable to realize what you feel you are owed, or to check yourself when you feel that sense of entitlement. Because like going to MJ or Michael Jordan, he was definitely self-accountable to his dedication on the court, right, to his teammates, to his team. And he was also very accountable for his other teammates, right, to where he was almost like a second coach to, was it Phil Jackson? And so like, there's a reason why MJ got paid a certain amount, and there's a reason why Scotty didn't, right? There's probably a lot more reasons, but if you're not willing to be accountable for yourself, and if you're not willing to be accountable for the rest of your team, then there's not necessarily a justification for why you should be paid the same.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And let's I guess move down to self-reliance.
Yeah.
So with self-reliance, and with this one, what was the thoughts behind it?
So self-reliance, as in, I kind of talked about a little bit earlier, was being dependent, right? So when you're saying that someone owes you something, you're now dependent on them, and they now have some sort of control over your life. So if you're dependent on your employer for money, if you're dependent on your spouse for making you feel good or making you feel happy, then now you have a lack of self-reliance on yourself to do those things. As you're telling yourself you can't make money, right? You're telling yourself you can't be happy without someone else. You're telling yourself that you can't lead yourself because there's no one else to teach you or to help you or hold your hand.
Okay. So you, in a sense, we started hitting it a little bit earlier, huh?
Yeah.
We're under personal responsibility. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because definitely, yes. That's a good point. Self-reliance, because when it comes to like, okay, making sure you have the right education, having the right people in your corner, or talking to the right mentors. You can't just all blame it on your employer, or blame it on your parents, or whoever it is, right? Like, why didn't you help me? Yes. Those things, it does get frustrating, especially when you find out a little bit later that someone could have helped you, and then you're like, all right, well, you know what? Especially when you're an adult, you just say, hey, I'm an adult. Let me handle this. There's a lesson learned, and now I can keep going. I can now come up with new plans, especially when it comes to career, right? Like how I probably mentioned it before, how I do with career, especially a certain position I want. I look at job recs, just go online, look at a certain position, look at what they're asking for, because that might not mean that what they're what they're really looking for when you get to the position, but it might be that overall, right? But you could take that little bit and then see, hey, what experience are they looking for? See if I can get that experience at the current job that I'm at now, or the same as like finding out which classes will give me the same education that's needed for the position. Because a lot of times they want a bachelor's degree, right? But then they're cool with a bachelor's degree. All they want is the experience behind it. Yeah. And then, you know, obviously other positions go like, hey, you can get your master's, you can get your PhD, and this is all the experience you would need. Again, when it comes to education, having to make sure that you're bringing value to your company, to yourself, to your family, all that, is like you actually need to find out what is really needed, because you can have education, but then it's like what you get is like an overall. You don't get specifics when it comes to a job, right? Most of the training you get is right there at the job, right? I mean, we could take even our certifications. Our certifications tell us we only know a certain amount, but once we get in a position, you go like, this has nothing to do with that certification, you know? But and that's just you know how it is. You got to learn from those different things, or you take certain situations to make yourself self-reliant, so you'll be able to grow yourself without always looking for a handout or looking for someone to push you along or things like that.
Yeah. It also makes you more adaptable, as in like if you're positioning yourself right now at your current work, your current position, and you're, you know, continuing to learn, you're taking lessons, you're going to classes, you know, keeping up with your certifications, stuff like that. And say for whatever reason you get laid off, right? For whatever reason, then you wouldn't worry as much, because you would know that you could just pivot to another, you know, position, or pivot to another company if needed. So I think, you know, having that self-reliance really will improve the overall, you know, professional life, of course, but, you know, personal life as well, as in you're able to control yourself, you know, emotionally, financially, without, I guess, relying on other people.
Yeah.
To kind of cover down on a few more points, it's so, you know, nothing is owed to you. It acknowledges that success and fulfillment in life are earned through hard work, perseverance, and dedication. And it also implies that expecting things to be given to you without effort or merit is unrealistic and unproductive. And then overall, the statement, you know, nothing is owed to you, encourages individuals to take ownership of their lives and work towards their goals, rather than expecting or demanding that things be handed to them.
Yeah. Sounds good, man.
And I'm enjoying this.
All right, man. We'll get down to our frugal and cheap. This one here is shopping at secondhand stores.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. Let's. What do you think about that? Is it cheap or frugal?
So I'm not a materials person, so I would definitely say it's frugal, because honestly, like, if it looks decent, or you know, if it's something you could fix up really quickly, who really cares where it came from or how much it costs? Right? Like, I've never, like, no one's ever looked at my dining table and be like, you know, how much did this cost you? Unless, you know, it was, you know, they really liked it or something. And but I mean, like, yeah, I would say it's more frugal than it is cheap, because I've definitely gotten like scratch and dent stuff now. I've never gone to a secondhand store, but I've definitely gotten furniture secondhand, like from my buddy's parents. They, you know, had a couple couches for me. Another buddy, he had like a pull-out couch for me. You know, all my original furniture that I had was from my parents, from probably when I was younger, or, you know, maybe when I was born. Like, that's how that stuff is, and it's still in, you know, decent condition to where I was using it for years until, like, you know, this past year.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I was telling you earlier, one of my apartments, especially when I moved to Dallas, that's how I furnished it, and that was with the secondhand store. Honestly, I think it was a bookshelf that I bought. 2 bookshelves. They were they exactly the same. I guess it's maybe dropped by the same person, but it just happened to be 2 of the same ones there. They just went in the same location, because I think I bought one and I came back later and I saw the other one, and I was like, I bought that one too. and that was something that saved me money, and we kept that for a long time. Honestly, I think my daughter may still have that one in her closet. I mean, like I also bought a sleeper couch, and it was, the only thing is, like, I should have, did more work on it so it'd be more of a comfortable sleeping couch, because I think I wanted it for sitting, but it was okay. I had it for guests just in case, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was, the broke days. I definitely, my credit wasn't the best, and I came up with another solution to having furniture in the home, right? I mean, yeah, you might have to clean it off a little bit. You might have to do a little work on it. Depends on what it is. Some things you buy it and it's good to go. Like, just people didn't want it,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would and it's like my theory, right? At some point, people who had to bring themselves up from their bootstraps, you didn't have much cash, you didn't have, good credit, but you learned how to live frugal and cheap. You can continue to use those same ideas even once you start making money, which actually puts more money into your pocket versus, now that I can afford it, now I'm going to go buy the best thing. Now that I have good credit, now I'm just going to go, furnish my whole house, my whole apartment with all these new things. And if you keep some of those ideas that you had before, then you put more money into your account, which allows you to have more money for investing, which also brings more money back into your pocket. So, like, it just, if, everyone, because I know I'm the same way. You let that lifestyle creep, get in, and you're like, oh, now I can afford it, so let me get it. I can afford this really nice restaurant. Let me start going more,
Yeah, and that'll get you, bro. That'll get you real quick.
Yeah. But yeah. But for me, I think it's more of a frugal thing. I know some people might think it's cheap, but I think it's frugal. Where
what if you give someone something from a secondhand store?
Well, it depends on if it looked brand new. How would they know? Kind of like what you said before. So they would never know, and they would still think it's a great gift. So in a sense, you save money and made someone happy.
No, I definitely agree.
So I call it frugal.
Yeah, frugal it is.
Yeah. All right, man. You want to get us out of here?
Yes, sir. All right, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for listening. This is Jay and Craig signing off the Troubleshooting Web podcast. Please like and subscribe and share out to anyone who think could benefit from this podcast. And we'll see you next week.
All right. See you next week.